Hi everybody, my name is Gerry, I'm from Wild Eye, and I recently returned from a trip in Iceland where I hosted a photo tour, and it was my first time shooting the OM-1 with the 8-25 f4 for landscapes. Now my previous favorite lens of all used to be the 7-14 f2.8, which a lot of wildlife photographers tend to steer away from those lenses, but I always had it as my second lens on my second body. So if I'm shooting wildlife, I would either have the 40-150 2.8 or the 300 f4 on my, at the time, EM1 Mark II or EM1X. And then on my second body, I would have the 7-14. It's great to take travel shots, behind the scenes shots, wide angle shots, landscape shots, subjects in environment shots. So recently then I started with the 8-25. OM Systems South Africa was nice enough to hook me up with one of those, and it is phenomenal. The reason I like it is I can put my Nisi filter holder on the front and use all my NDs and grad filters and polarizer. The 7-14, because it's got the bubble front and the fixed lens hood, I saw some systems online, but nothing that I could get my hands on in South Africa. So the ability to shoot with the filters in Iceland was golden. Absolutely amazing. So some of the images I'm going to show you here, not some, all of these images were taken on the 8-25mm lens. I had it on for the entire trip. Only time I changed, I think, was once when we shot puffins, photographed puffins. Shot puffins sounds wrong. When we photographed puffins, and there I used the 300 f4. So the one thing for me, which I would, and I don't know if it's a concern, but just in my mind, I like the internal focusing mechanisms. So the 7-14 and the 40-150, yes, has the internal focusing. So when you focus, there's no movement or size change of the actual lens, where the 8-25 does, so it comes in and out. Now, it didn't compromise quality for me at all in the slightest, and you'll see some of the pictures. But in my mind, because I was shooting in rain sometimes, I wasn't sure how safe it would be or how weather protected it would be with the open and close of the lens. Didn't run into any issues though. So maybe that was just me overthinking it a little bit. The one feature that I haven't played with much on the OM-1 is the focus stacking. Now, the video I'm showing you right here on the side, this was me putting my camera down on the floor. I had the 8-25 on with all the filters, and I pointed it at the C stacks at Vic in Iceland. So the idea is with in-camera stacking, what happens is the camera takes, I think it was 9 I had it set up for, 9 images at different focal points. So on the first one, if you watch the video, it starts and the first little bit's in focus, then the next, and this shifts all the time automatically, and then the camera spits out the final JPEG for you, which is this one, right? Front to back sharpness all the way. Now, honestly, I've never ever done this because it's too much work in Photoshop. It's not difficult at all, and you get programs to do it for you, but the ability to do this in camera, quick and simple, easy. I also did it handheld with the OM-1 at some of the waterfalls we went to. So that feature for me, combined with the 8-25, was really, really something special and made for a lot of interesting shooting, stuff I've never done before. So another image, this one here, we had all these lupins in the front, and again, put it down, let it shoot, and then spit out the JPEG. I would like in future to see maybe a TIFF or a DNG spit out, but for now, it's not bad at all. And then you also have the 9 raw files, should you want to kind of process them and put them together on your own. The overall, the 8-25 is golden. I see myself using that more than the 7-14. It gives me that little bit extra. So instead of going from, in equivalents, from 14 to 28, I'm going from 16 to 50, right? So it's a bigger range for me to play with, especially on wildlife trips. And the next trip I'm going on is Uganda. So that 8-25 could be interesting. The only thing, and I know some of you will say this, it's f4, not f2.8. I hear you, but how often are you shooting a landscape lens at f2.8, right? We want the depth with these lenses. That's why we have them. Unless you're shooting portraits and you want to get kind of comical up close, but for most of the landscape shooting, you want to be able to get the distance and the depth. And it's not as a pronounced depth of field with a large aperture as it is with the focal lenses in the 300 range. So again, the OM-1, loving the camera. The 8-25, Probably my new go-to lens, my new favorite. And again, it's because I can add my filters onto it. If you haven't tried it yet, rent some filters, borrow some, buy some. It is worth it. Some of the images that's going on the screen now, these are all with the filters. It's amazing. It opens up your world to creativity, and your portfolio will thank you for it. The one little thing, and I must actually chat to the guys at OM System that I found, is on the OM-1, on the actual body. So I have the EM1 Mark II and I have the EM1X. And look, I'm going to be honest, I'm quite hard on my equipment because to me it's a tool. I want to use that equipment to create something. The corners of the camera, it seems like it scratches, so the black comes off a little bit on the corners. And this is just after 2 trips, where the EM1X has no color change on the corners of the body, if that makes sense. So I'm going to find out a little bit more about that, and I'll feedback when I do the video next week again. But overall, phenomenal. It is still, and I've said this in the past, it is still one of the cameras that I would spend money on for me right now. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, let me know on the camera, on the lens, or on the focus stacking feature, whatever it is. I'd love to help. My details are at the end of this video. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll chat to you next week. My name is Gerry. I'm from Wild Eye. Have a good one.